Hi, this is John Young with the Disc Jockey News. One of the things I had a few people asking me about was what I did for proms, this particular post proms specifically. I do a few post proms each year, and I wanted to cover what we did this year, some of the games and such. This year we used the theme, The Amazing Race. If you've seen the show, it's these teams of two racing from one end of the world to the other and doing these different challenges and things. So what I did this year is, well, let me back up. What I've done for the last few years is every year we have a theme, and every year we divide the group of kids up into teams. And then from there we've done competitions. One year we did the Olympics. One year we did different tribes, kind of the survivor feel, and we divided them up and gave them some unique names and things. And if you want more information, I can talk more about those later, but I want to talk about this year. So we went the Amazing Race. Well, Amazing Race, some of the difficulties with this is if I have a group of 100 teenagers, the Amazing Race is basically set for teams of two. So we have an issue with that. How are we going to do that? Well, one of the ways we did that is some of the games, which you guys have probably seen some of the games that we use because there's a lot of great, Robbie Britton's done some things, Sid Vanderpool's got some stuff, Johnny Ross has got some stuff. They've done some group game things and gotten it out there. We use some of their type of games, and I'll talk about some of those, but what we did is getting larger games that could have 4 or 8 or whatever. Try to getting as many people involved as possible, because the idea with the adults with a post prom is they don't want the kids sitting. They want them to be engaged and involved and competing or whatever you're doing, because sitting teenagers is a bad thing, especially when you're doing a lock-in overnight. So Amazing Race. The way we did it is we wanted to get them into teams. So we took a label printer. If you've seen a label printer, they'll print out like a mailing label. It's about a 4-inch by 2-inch approximately adhesive label. And we would print off names. Well, this particular year we're kind of in the upper Midwest, so we went with the Big Ten. Well, if you're familiar with college and sports, Big Ten is really 12 teams. So we had 12 teams. So there was the Gophers and the Fighting Illini and the Spartans and the Hoosiers and all the different Big Ten teams. And what we did is we printed off enough of all 12. So we did 12 sets of however many, so we could cover the kids. So if we had 100 kids, we would print off 12 and about 9 or so a piece, so that they could go through and distribute those, and then all the kids were on different teams. So the kids would check in, they would get their badges from the night to say that they're part of the lock-in, and then they would get one of these stickers that they would stick on the back of their badge. So now they were a Gopher, or they were the Penn State kids. I had a difficult time with that, but they're the Lions from Penn State. Anyway, whatever team. So then now we're into teams. Then we brought the kids in, and we introduced, had them do a game. The first game we probably did was the Cup game. Actually, this was a Scott favorite game, the 21 Cup game. If you've ever done that, if you've ever seen it, you probably find it online. But it's a cool little game. We were able to run all the teams on the gym floor, cleared it out, and we ran this Cup game, doing a stacking cup into this pyramid. We had our winners. Well, one of the things with the Amazing Race is they kind of keep track of time. And that's one of the things we wanted to do with this, is we wanted to make it as close as possible, and it had to be about time. So we incorporated stopwatches. So they really were competing against each other with each one a little bit, but they were really competing against the clock, because they might have an activity in which, such as the cups, they might have been really bad at that. They might have dropped, the cups might have fallen in, and they had a mess, So the team who didn't do so well there, maybe later when we pulled the hula hoops out, they would do better. So what the kids would do is they'd get, okay, I need 6 kids from your team to come on out. So 6 kids from each of those college teams would come on out, and then they would do the activity, 6 or 4, 2, however many were needed for each one. They'd come out, they'd grab an adult timer, because I had my 12 volunteer adults, and they would start the kids. Each adult would start the kids. The kids would run through the activity. Once they were done, they were out. The next group of kids would come in if we were doing, if we had to do multiple sets, if we couldn't run them all at the same time. So first activity was the cups, I believe. Second one was this building their college mascot. We had aluminum foil and toilet paper and different garbagey things, and the kids would design their mascot. If the kids did it and did a decent job, from the second one we didn't time them, we gave them the Express Pass. What the Express Pass meant is that from that point forward, if there was a challenge that was too difficult, they could give us the Express Pass, and they would go through it with no time added to their running total. Now, a couple more things with time. If the kids participated in the activity and couldn't complete it, we only docked them 2.5 minutes. If they didn't participate at all, because this gets to the point later in the night, some of the kids just don't show for the games. That was a 5-minute. There was a 5-minute dock, and after they missed a couple, they were basically out of the competition for the top 3 spots or top 4 spots. So anyway, they all had an express pass. Some of the other games, we had team walkers. If you've ever seen a team walker, it's a board that 4 kids can be on or 4 people can be on, and they've got strings and they have to walk as a team. I've got these clown bicycles. Well, they're bigger than that. Little clown bicycles. That was another one where the kids would have to ride down and back, switch, ride down and back, switch. Gunny sacks. Gunny sack race was another one of the games. Let's try to think of a couple more. We had the hula hoop. I mentioned the hula hoop. We actually had that one. That was a single-person game. They had to pick the best hula hooper to just literally go down across the gym and back. One team in one of the situations had a gal who could hula hoop and run. She took like 12 seconds to get down and back. Some of the teams timed out in that 2.5 minutes, and they didn't even get 10 feet out there. I kind of correlated that one to the stilts. If you've ever watched The Amazing Race, and they've done something like with the stilts where they had to walk across and kick the ball, the hula hoop was that part. So they got out there, and if the hula hoop fell, they'd come back and start over again. So most of them did it within a minute to timing out at 2.5 minutes. There was only two of the teams in all of the post proms that were under a minute. So. But the idea was we had just a lot of different games. A lot of them, again, Robbie Britton's got a DVD out. Sid Vanderpool's got, I don't know if he has a DVD, he's got a book out talking about some of the games. Like the Stuff It game was one of them that we did with the balloons. Get the first team to inflate and stuff 50 balloons in the shirts. Just a lot of games. We did a game basically every 20 minutes. So we'd get the kids out there, we'd do the game, then they'd go off and they'd spend about 10 minutes doing something else. Yeah, maybe it was about every 25 minutes. But it just depends on how the other things, because most of the time, with post proms up here, they're doing casino games on the side so they can win money and cash that in for more drawings. And with each of my games, that if they came in first, they got 3 tickets and additional tickets into the final drawing. Second place was 2, third place was 1, and if you're beyond that, sorry. The way we finished it is we got to the end, we took the top 4 teams, they're the teams with the lowest amount of time, and those 4 teams did a free throw thing where we had them, they had to take their 4 best free throwers, and they would on the ends of the gym, and again it was timed, and they would have to shoot until they hit 8 free throws. One person would hit one, then they would have to rotate, and the next person would shoot, and the next person would shoot, and it became this free throw at the end of the game, or the end of the night. And actually, I was really surprised with the 2 teams on each end. This team would go until they hit 8 and it timed it. Then the next team went, timed it, so we had the times of the 4. But it was really competitive, and I was worried that only 4 teams competing would, the other kids would kind of tune out. But actually, they weren't. They were really in it, cheering on, because we had a team of with one school. We had wrestlers on, and we had basketball players on one team, and they were really into it. So, cool idea. The Amazing Race. Don't take this and just copy it. Take this as kind of inspiration to take one of them, maybe a show or a game or something that you really think's cool, and you can just adapt it to what you need it to do. I mean, when they first came up with the idea of using Amazing Race for post prom, I was pulling my hair out because I didn't know how I was going to make some of my traditional DJ games work in that. The stopwatch was it. That's what made the Amazing Race, and it was really cool. So that's what I did for post proms this year. Next year, I don't know what we'll be doing, because we may get back into the Olympics one, because we did the Olympics, and then we did the Survivor, and now we did this, so it might be back into that rotation. I'll have to figure that out. So that's my games, post prom. This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News.